Hi, my name is Sharese Williams, and I am a member of Cohort 9 with RTR.
Hello, I'm Dana Crawley, and I was her CRC when she was in Cohort 9.
So, our relationship dynamic started in 2019, and I was grateful that I had someone who looked like me and that I could serve under and also just learn and, have a great impact in the Richmond community.
So I came to the program after someone said, I think you would be a good fit. I always just want to encourage people, so that was my biggest thing. I was nervous about being in the program, but I knew I wanted to encourage pre-service teachers, especially who look like me. So my biggest thing when I started the program, I wanted Sharese to feel like it was her classroom, because it was her classroom. I think about like a person who's becoming a doctor. They go into a hospital and it is their hospital, and they are doing everything that a doctor with experience does. So that's what I wanted for her. I didn't want her to feel like she had to be who I was, she had to teach like I taught. I wanted her to authentically be her and give her the space to do that. And I think that's one of the first things I said to you. This is your classroom. So everything from setting up to, classroom management, to those connections with parents and kids, that was important. And she's amazing. So she went in there and did all of the things and more.
Yes, and I think with that conversation, as a resident, it allowed me to just be calm going into a new space that I had honestly never been in, full teaching, not working, taking classes, and so it was a lot to balance. But Mrs. Crawley definitely just said, hey, you got this, and she let me go dive straight in, and it was a good pace. And so I was very grateful for that. I also was just very, attentive to her just styles of learning and how she was able to get the class together, or how she was just able to really just, have a good standard of expectations for kids. And I always tell her, my biggest takeaway from her was giving kids grace. And grace looks like once it's done, it's done. You did it 5 minutes ago and we left it 5 minutes ago as well. And so it's easy as an educator to harp on things 2 hours later, well, remember you did this, and she just taught me that you really have to let it go, because these are still children and we are really their first line of defense. And so I still take that even beyond the classroom as an adult, and so I'm very grateful that she was able to teach me that.
And that's, I think, the one thing that I learned from you was that I always knew it, but really you are the embodiment of it. Wisdom has no age. So when you meet someone who you can just tell right off that they are a wise person, and that's what I think, honestly, that's what made it easy to work with you, because you have that wisdom. And people say, oh, you're wise beyond your years. I don't really like that, because wisdom can come from anyone. If you're a wise person, you're a wise person. And just to see, her biggest thing is connections, and that's the wisest choice you can make as a educator. Connections. She made connections with parents, connections with the students, connections with the staff. So I think that's why you make such an impact at Barack Obama, and that's why everyone loved you right away and had respect that, because sometimes you see young people coming in and it's like, oh, this is a new teacher. No, everybody had a lot of respect for you, and it was like in awe of you. That was because of those connections. And I think that's why I think she's so wise, because she knew I have to touch your heart before I can do anything else. And so that is what I definitely learned from you. I knew it, but to see you every day, it was like, man, wisdom is just wisdom. Doesn't matter who you are, how old you are. That's wisdom. And just team player, definitely a team player, but a smart team player. Just because we're doing it, if she didn't think, she was like, oh, what is going on? I'm a team player, but can I ask questions? Maybe we can do it this way. And I was open to that, and it just, that year really, we were the year where school stopped in March. But so my biggest thing is, if it works, it works. And so our kids were kind of struggling with math concepts. She came and was like, well, I'm gonna do some math talks. I had never seen math talks being done before. When I say it changed the way they thought about math and how they did math. And I was like, run with it, because it's our classroom. And I was able to sit back. And sometimes I felt like I was hanging out hard, but that's because she had it. And so just the things I took from that, the way she taught math, and just, I've been teaching for a while, and sometimes you can just teach the material, you go on autopilot, but to see her history and science made those connections, they made those connections, and we weren't just teaching, hey, this is the facts, these are ancient cultures, she made it real for them. And that made me, kind of gave me my fire to make it real again, because you can really get into that. I'm here, I'm teaching on autopilot, but with her, seeing her come in and do that, I was like, I don't really want that for myself. I want to make it new and fresh for them. So just took that with me. But she changed the way I taught math a little bit. I still do that. Like I still take it with me. So yeah, it was an awesome experience for me. Very nervous going in. When you have someone, when you're teaching someone, you want to make sure you do right by them. And that was what I was most nervous about. But it really made me, I actually did it again, because I was like, I'm not doing it again. She's amazing. She's perfect. It's like having that first child and you're like, no, this is perfect. I'm not having another. But it was amazing that I was actually a CRC for someone else. And so she made me believe I could do it, because I'm not always my biggest cheerleader. But after working with Sharese, I was like, I could do this. I can help people. So It was amazing.
I love it. And I think for me, I go back to expectations. Both Black women teaching majority Black kids, and she taught me to have a high expectation, make it realistic, and stick with it. I think a lot of times, we're very sympathetic, but we really need to be empathetic, because sympathy means that I feel bad for you and I feel bad for your situation. But empathy is saying, I hear you, I see you, but we will get through this together. And I think she also made sure that we did that as a unit. It wasn't Miss Crawley is this way or Miss Williams is that way. No, it was, we both have these expectations for you, and this is what it is. And so our dynamic really worked in the classroom with the kids. It was equal respect. I wasn't just a resident who's learning how to be a teacher. When she introduced me, it was, this is a teacher. This is our classroom. And I think that's the biggest thing for having that CRC and resident dynamic, that you really have to make, as a CRC, make your resident feel welcome, because we're coming into their space. It's essentially until we get our own space. And so, like I said, that classroom was just very serene, and I was just so grateful. And then fast forward COVID, and life happens, and this is where I feel like Crawley is just Crawley, because my car broke down. I tell people this story all the time. My car broke down April of 2020. I was working at Kroger still, because I had to quit to just be a resident. I had to stop working, so I went back. And then I'm like, Crawley, my car broke down. We're just talking, and she's like, come to my house and get my car. And I'm like, what? And she's like, get my car. And I'm like, but what are you gonna do? And she was like, Sharese, don't ask questions, come get my car. And so I had her car for like 2-3 weeks, and then I have no words when I think about it, because she is so selfless outside of the classroom and in the classroom that we are very connected. So I just get very this is my, this is really she is truly a person who means a lot to me outside of RTR. So she's dope. And so to think about that, this one program, she's literally like mom, auntie, sister, all in one. And it blows my mind. Like we talk almost every day, literally every day. The summertime, we're like sending memes. Like we are just truly like, we're glued to the hip. And I know that even when I may leave Richmond, like it's going to stay, because we are that connected. It's not just, teaching stuff. Like, no, we go to each other about life things, and it's just, it's a blessing. And so I will forever be grateful to like RTR for this, because I don't think I would have found this anywhere else. Honestly, it wouldn't have been possible. So,
I mean, yes. I know, I'm in total agreement, because it's not just,
it's crazy.
It's not just co-teacher. It's not just, it turned into more than that. And it was turned into more of that very quickly. And it was just like, this is my person.
Yeah.
And you don't, I think you have a certain number of persons in your life. You have your friends, but you have people who are your person. And this is one of my people. And it's just, it became, like, she's not gonna get rid of me.
We're not gonna do that.
It's gonna be, and it's funny because when you were there, you remember someone asked us, they were like, oh, you guys already knew each other. And this was like,
maybe week 3.
And I was like, no, we didn't
never met
each other. But it was just because she's just who she is authentically. And it's just like, she has such a heart for not just kids, but people. And I've got a lot of years on her, but there are times I've come to her for counsel, for things, and she's just very just open. I think it's this way, and very real with me. And you don't just because you're younger than me. If I need to be told sometimes, because sometimes I think too much, and she's like, Crawley, you know, and she can tell me that, and I can take that, and I'm like, she's right, you know, and that's why I just love who she is, and just love just to. It's only been 4 years, but it feels a lot more than that.
Yeah.
And so it's just amazing. It's been amazing. And sometimes when people see us, you know, you can maybe think, oh, you know, is it mini Crawley? But it's not. And that's what the teachers at our school have realized. She is who she is. So we teach at the same school. We were very fortunate because my principal fell in love with her. So she was gonna get her no matter what. If she had to make another classroom, she was gonna have Sharese Williams. But it's not a mini Dana, it is Sharese Williams. And so that's what I think is so amazing about you too, because she has made her mark in 4 years. She is a person who others can come to and be like, well, how do you do this? Or how do you do that? That's why I say wisdom doesn't have an age. You can just see it on people. She's well respected at our school. People know her as an amazing educator and children first. Like if you had to say, use something to describe her, I would say children first, and that is who she is. The material is amazing, this is amazing, but when those kids come in there, I'm always Maslow's before Bloom's. You have to take care of their needs before you can teach them, and that is what she's doing. And so, you know, my daughter goes to our school. Can't wait till she gets to 4th grade. Going in there, boo, because she's gonna have an amazing year. She's not just gonna get fed and grow academically, but she's gonna come out a better person for being in Miss Williams' class. So it's amazing. I think she's amazing. That's what I tell people. She's amazing. She's not wrong. Even if she is wrong, she's not wrong. That's who we are. No, she's not wrong. Even if she is, I know she is. She's not wrong.
And then we'll say it later.
We'll say it later. But I just think it's so weird how this program where I kind of was like, I don't want to do this. I don't know. I wouldn't have met you. So, you know, whatever you believe in, if you know, you believe in it, chance meetings, you know, it's kismet or whatever, it definitely, whatever you believe in, that's what it was for us. So, yeah.
Yes, I'm grateful, and just, I would say to future residents, you know, just really be open, voice your concerns and what you want. Go to your person and say, hey, this has been my experience in the classroom. This is what I can maybe want to take away from RTR as I walk into this new journey and becoming a professional, because that is really a part of the training too. You are learning the ins and out of an education system that you could be joining or joining another one, but it really is a step into adulthood, and I think that it really helped me just go more straight path when I was done. And so it wasn't a lot of things that I was unsure of because I got that experience because of the residency format. So I'm grateful, and yeah, it's been fun, and like it's been great. So yes.
And then for future CRCs, if you're thinking about this program, the biggest thing is you have to be open. This is no longer just your classroom. And if you're someone who cannot let go of control, it may not be for you. But even if you think you can't let go of control, try it. I'm not that person, but I went in, if I'm gonna do this the right way, this is our classroom. This is not my classroom, this is our classroom. And as she took over more responsibilities, it became more her classroom. You know, we started off 50-50, but then I pulled back. It was, you know, at one point in the year, 70-30, but that's the only way we are helping pre-service teachers. So if that is something you're interested in doing, if that is something that you have a passion for, helping pre-service teachers, then I say do it. But go in knowing it has to be their classroom as well. And towards the end, it is mostly their classroom. But that's how she, you know, that's what you do. That's how she becomes who she is. And so that's my advice, a little bit of advice.